So you're watching Drum Talk Cinema. Which camera? Which camera? This one? Thanks to Drum Talk for having me here. It's a pure honor. I've watched many episodes and I learned a lot. So watch the episodes, past, future ones, and enjoy them and learn something. Cheers.
Whoa! Shit, not flight mode. So unprofessional. Fist.
It sucks. Hello, this is George Kollias from Nile. We are on tour in Europe. Right now we're in Mannheim, Germany, and we're with Terrorizer, Exarsis, and Art of Deception, having killer time. I just love the instrument, and I try to do the best for make it a little bit, keep it interesting for me. Also for the fans, but it's mostly for me. It's mostly like I'm trying to enjoy the instrument, and there's a lot of space and directions to move, without being in that cell, like play death metal, pop music, or whatever. So I get influenced by any drummer. And I feel very lucky to be able to go in any direction. That's what I mostly love today and where I am. There is no limitations at all. I didn't got too many lessons, but I was lucky, very, very lucky to study with two amazing teachers. And especially my main teacher, his name is Yannis Stavropoulos, and he's a jazz great in Greece. Well known actually outside Greece as well. The most important thing I got was to be able to teach myself. See my needs, see what I was okay, what I was great, and get the weak parts and make them a little bit stronger. Then I started teaching other drummers. That had nothing to do with a basic concept, which means, okay, I'm on a level so I can teach other people and get paid. I mean, everything is in there, of course, and I'm not teaching for free, but the main thing is the love for the instrument. You want to share some stuff, and same with clinics, same with, like, I'm doing all these things around drumming, and I enjoy each one of it. Like it's something very unique. So mostly it's about love for the instrument. I wanted to pass some stuff, but the more you do it, the more you grow up, of course, as a teacher. And I'm trying to teach my students how to teach themselves. So it's not like the weekly classic lesson, 45 minutes, bam, pay me, bye-bye, So we go a little bit deeper. We have a great relationship with the students. And I'm trying to pass at them what I got from my teacher as well. One benefit I have is that I'm touring the world, so I see how things work on stage. So I don't consider myself as a teacher. I consider myself more as a player and see what works and what not. So yeah, one thing will be technique, but the other thing will be a little bit of, the circumstances and, the sound on stage. Like, for example, right now I just woke up and I have to do sound check. There are certain ways to go through the day in order to make it for a month and a half on a tour. So there's plenty of things outside the drum book to learn and to teach to students. And that's what I'm trying to do. But unfortunately, in order to get complete on this part, they have to go into themselves. So I'll try my best.
Learning means pushing your comfort zone to new levels, but first and foremost, it's about recognizing where your comfort zones are.
Yep.
And where your problems are. Or maybe each and every drummer's comfort zone is the leading limb.
Yeah.
And subtract the leading limb, and then play the groove again, and you will probably fail because it will fall apart. So for me, it was important to make my own rudiments, but not primitive ones, but creative ones, because I'm the kind of guy who needs always playing around. Then that's the perfect way to learn. Have you experiences like that?
What was the question? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, first you need to find your weak spots and work on them. That's very, very important. Another thing would be to try to get into different areas. For example, if you're a death metal drummer, stuck in singles, unison 16s, you know, for a lifetime, maybe get into a new style, whatever it is, will be really, really good for your own progress as a musician, right? So it will open new windows on what you do in drumming. So the most important thing for me is to do as many kilometers by playing the instrument. So the daily approach with the instrument is the most important thing. And then of course practicing will be one part, work on your weak stuff. You mentioned the leading hand and the leading foot. You know how many times I got this question like, what can I do to get my left foot on the same level with my right foot? And I'm like, okay, if you record yourself with a video recorder or something, playing a show, you will discover that your leading foot is doing 97% of the job. So you have 97% of the job will be right foot and 3% will be left foot. That's number one. It tells me why should I bring my left foot on the same level. Number two will be the role of each foot. So when this foot is working, it's on the beat, off the beat, all over the place. When my left foot is on, usually it's on the upbeat following the right foot, which is on the downbeat. So does it make sense to spend like 10 years and get them on the same level? Why? Unless if you want to do, you know, the both drum set, which is one of the coolest concepts, but I know it takes 25 years or so. So that's what I was talking about, you know, but the point, like you want to practice on something, but is there a point on that? Like you want to practice blast beats and you're like, okay, I play 2-foot blast beats. I will practice 1 foot. Why? Why you don't get what you have and what you really need today and get it on the next level? And people will tell me, because this is, the 1 foot is a real thing. And I'm like, why you didn't start the real thing in first place? Yeah, you know, so I just try to get them into the point. For me, this is the most important thing. Like, watch what you do and try to get better. Many people admire what I do with a 1-foot blast. And I know it takes many years. And they're like, yeah, man, I know it takes so much work and blah, blah, blah. For me, I was really lucky to get stuck on the 1-foot blast because the fastest I can go with a 1-foot blasting, I can play double bass too. So there is no, you know, limitations. And I passed that point that I can go that fast. There is no limits. Like if I push, I can go faster. And I know many people know me because of speed, but I never really care about speed. And I'm as honest as, you know, I mean, look at my YouTube. You will never see any videos saying like speed or anything. It's just, I get questions about speed and I have to answer. And I play fast because my band is playing fast. Not that I don't like to challenge myself. That's a different story, but I never really focus on, you know, just, I was watching drummers like Pete Sandoval, you know, the godfather of the blast beat, which we have the joy to have on this tour. And it's an amazing thing you will see tonight. So I just wanted to do things like he did, and I get to the point that now I can play whatever I want with my band using this technique, let's say. If you ask the people who know me since I was 12 years old, they will tell you I was always a pro. Like, I always wanted my drum set, make sure, tuning and the setup is great, and be prepared as much as possible. So I always look at my job, and I say job because for me it's my life, it's my hobby and everything together. I always treat drumming in a very professional way. So nothing really changed when I became a real professional drummer, except the fact that I got more familiar with the live situation. I knew how it was to play live, and I knew what I had to do to play better, but now it's a daily thing, and it just works a little bit easier, that's all. And maybe get in this sponsorship and all this business, which is great. And like I said, whatever has to do with drumming, I just love it. You definitely have to hear what you do. To me, it was always important to be able to sing something, because that's how my brain works. I mean, my brain will not give the right orders to my hands and feet if it can't give this order to the mouth first, It depends on what you do. Sometimes you have to see it as well. If it's like an independent exercise, sometimes like a vision works as a tool, which is amazing. But again, it depends on the style. For example, like if you go to a student like 12 years old, like I was when I got my first drum set, and show him a backbeat, like, okay, that's good. Now play it with some feel. It's impossible. He doesn't understand. He needs time. He needs miles, kilometers. Depends on where you live. So you need to spend a lot of time with the instrument to be able to hear it later on. And this is why you see the best drummers in the world, they just started young. The thing that I did, and I thought it was a little bit different, was for my solo album, Invictus, which was it's a fun project. I play all the instruments, singing, It's still death metal, but it's a fun project. There are many loops, right? Now, all these loops, I could borrow like from a loop library or something, but I wanted to play each one of them. So there are, of course, many MIDI, ethnic percussions and all this stuff. And I think they sound way better than the loops I found from friends and stuff, just because they're played by human, and there is, the human feels in there. So I thought that was, instead of getting a loop and write the song on this loop, I prefer to be able to play it and get the sounds, and sometimes, EQ it a little bit different, put some effects and everything, and you hear some sick stuff, and you're like, oh, where do you find this? I played it. That's the good thing when you have an electronic drum set, but I don't really use it other than that, to be honest.
It's a very personal impression I have of you. When I watch you playing, I always have in mind the image of the suffering artist, because it's your whole body is under stress. And at least it feels like it.
Yep.
It looks like it. It's an enormous tempo. You don't don't lose one beat, and maybe the air is bad. The conditions are fucked up. You don't hear yourself. You don't hear the others, and then you have to play like 280 or something, which is not easy to do the whole show, right? So, what do you think about catharsis for the audience?
You know, I heard this many times, and people are like, "Man, you look like you're pushing." I'm like, you know, this is why I am. Like, it's impossible to play for a band like Nile and just, you know, be relaxed, like, you're at your balcony and drinking your coffee. There's no way, unless if you're a topper and if you play like on a pad or something, which unfortunately it's a reality in our style. But for me, it's a live show. I have to deliver, play as hard as possible. It's rock music at the end of the day, and I'm pushing everything I have, and people see it. I think it's very obvious. But the other thing is, what's going on in your mind? You know, it's not about the tempo. It's not about the click track. It's not about the riff. It's not about the signature. It's all together. You know. So I'm doing math, and some signatures will be really against the flow. For example, if you have like a 270 BPM blast beat, it's already really tough, you know, to do with one foot and go that fast. But then we have odd parts like 7s and 11s and 9s, and you know, and I have to find the motion because there is no more flow. Okay, so for example, if you play like a 7, it's like a 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 3 1 2 3, you know. So the motion is a little bit more like odd than the usual flow that everything rolls a little bit better, you know, and you can push on the next level. So there are many different factors. It's a really demanding style of music, and I enjoy it, although I suffer. Well, yeah, the vocals will definitely not give you that impression for sure. But drumming-wise, I think I do what every drummer does. For example, like when you play a backbeat, and you're like, you know, just play like a melody on the bell, or you know, a stack or whatever. I can do the same during blast beats, and this is why, which I prepared for my third book, which is really advanced. I have like a huge chapter based on Syncopation for the Modern Drummer book, and how to apply melody lines for blast beats, bombs, and everything. And that will give you a new idea of what actually a blast beat is. Because many people think it's a very straight beat, and actually it is. We can't really use dynamics on a blast beat. I mean, we can, but it's gonna sound like shit. So there's always this fine line you can't really cross. So how can you make a blast beat groove, right? How can you make the audience go like this? For example, my guitar players play accents, you know. So what I can do will be to accent. But as soon as you take the right hand, you know, out of the right cymbal or the hi-hat, depends on what you play, you will start flam, you know, going to the flam town, you know, with kick and snare. So, yeah. So what you have to do is spend a lot of time playing kick and snare at a really high tempo. Make sure your kick is leading on the beat, which is on the metronome, and then, you know, apply some melodies on the right hand, and that will open really new windows. Because, like I said, you can't really groove a blast beat dynamic-wise. So the only thing I can do is accents. So and even for a one-footer, it's really difficult, but not impossible. I never thought about releasing an album or something. Then people started pushing me. I'm like, okay, I will. And then I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, should I make it instrumental and focus on the drum set and, you know, play whatever? I'm not able to play in other bands just because it's going to be like too busy and too like drum related. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. And then what if we put vocals? Because then the only thing I was really afraid is that people would take my instrumental songs and will put vocals on. So then I will have like thousands of versions. And I'm like, I don't want to see that. You know, I just want to release something for fun. And then I had to sing as well. The only disappointing thing was I spent so much time writing guitars and bass and vocals and with the production and all these samples and percussion that I didn't give the attention I wanted on the drums. Actually, I did, but it was for the songs. So drumming there for the songs, I think it's really good. But it's not good for me because I had different plans. I wanted to explore like really, really new things. But the songs would not let me go because they turned into more typical death metal songs. But I'm happy with what I played at the end of the day for the songs. The recording actually took like 5 months. So it was pretty quick. Like bass was 1 day, guitars was like 4 or 5 days. Drums were like 2-3 days as usual. So yeah, it didn't took so much, but it took so much to release the album. Like, okay, what do we do with this? We're gonna give it for free. And then Season of Mist was like, yeah, we want to release it. So, and then you have to wait till the whole idea becomes a CD or a vinyl. But like I said, for me, it was always a secondary thing. It was something for fun. I love the time I spent for this album. And the next one is gonna be a little bit more drum related. So I'm gonna focus a little bit on the drums because that was the main thing from the beginning. But always music wins, unfortunately. Not really in Latin, and it's weird because, you know, I come from Greece, which is a little bit, you know, we have a little bit of, you know, this vibe, but it's not really my thing. Fusion as well, you know. Of course, I try to practice everything and get a little bit of information about many different styles, of course, but it also depends on what I want to play. For example, lately, it's only big band. That's it. I love it to death. That's what I'm listening to every day. I work with a few songs, so we'll see. It's a lot of similarities actually in big band and death metal. I know it sounds weird, but it's true. So it depends. Pop music too. Pop music, it's very challenging for me to be able to stay on a, you know, on a simple groove with no feels, no nothing, perfect time, 100% the feel from 0 to like the 5th minute or something. And then be able to deliver this in 100,000 people. I'm just saying, this is a simulation for me in my brain, like you play with a pop artist or something. Every style has its own difficulties. Every style is very unique, and whoever says that what we do is the most difficult thing just because there are too many notes, it's wrong. Or some other people will say like jazz is the ultimate. No, it's not the ultimate. Like every style is difficult or easy, it depends. And of course you see good music and bad music, you know, depends on, no matter what the style is. You know, good music is everywhere, bad music is unfortunately everywhere as well. If I ever try to get into drum and bass, a little bit, mostly because of some big drumming influences. For example, like Damian Smith, one of my favorite drummers, and Jojo Mayer. Yeah, these guys just, you know, are so incredible that will definitely get my attention, and I will try to get into this area. Actually, I got into a couple songs from Damian Smith. I don't know if you know, but he is also a singer. And the drumming was so unique that I wanted to learn these 2 songs note by note. It's a little bit more natural to us just because of speed, I guess. I don't know. Although there is a lot of new coordination, which is like, you know, how do I do this? But yeah, they came along pretty good. first, I don't really feel the fame thing. No matter who you are, to me, it doesn't really matter. The legacy you leave behind is what matters. But I don't really believe in the rock star thing, and that's true. I don't believe in this, and I say it on the cameras. I think it's bullshit, because I've seen a few things as well. Now, the more you grow and the bigger audience you draw, and the more people you know, get the stress level a little bit higher for sure. When nobody knew me, like I will release drum videos, and some people will go like, "Oh, I like this," or some other will be like, now it has to be perfect, or even the video shooting, like everything. So there's a lot more stress because you feel like there are so many people waiting for the video just to like pick on you, like, "Oh yeah, I saw these and I don't like these," So I don't know. It's maybe the more I grow up, I only see the negative comments, So try to be a little bit more careful nowadays. It takes away a lot of the fun. I gotta say that, yeah, because I got so many videos ready, like jam videos. We're talking about hours, like hundreds of hours of material. But in order to release something in public, has to be eliminate all this negativity. So I try to stay focused and give something more neutral than my free form, extreme side, whatever. So yeah, it's a little bit stressful. I do, yes, I do. It's not the right word, surprise, but let's say I make myself happy sometimes. When I hear something, I'm like, "Oh man, this is out of control, this is difficult, this is, I can't understand this style of music," and slowly it comes together. It's not really a surprise, but it's the joy that you set up a goal and you go for it. It's very, very important. I think if I lose this, I'm gonna stop playing. Why push yourself afterwards? I don't know. So yeah, it's all about goals and go in different directions and explore new things. And for me, my dream was always to not be a death metal drummer, to be a drummer, and in general. So this is probably the reason if I spend like 6 hours a day, maybe like 30 minutes to an hour is dedicated on death metal. Everything else is dedicated in different styles. Why? Because I want to explore new things. And if you listen to the new album that we write right now, I have 4 songs ready, and I have 2 more that I'm getting the projects after this tour to work. And you will realize all this, the amount of work where it goes, because we're coming up with really new things, very interesting stuff that took days and hours and months to practice. When I heard this tour is going to happen, I don't know, I was like, wow, it's a big moment. But watching this guy playing, I think, I don't know if we're rolling stuff, I don't know if you're going to use this shit, but it's magic. It's fucking magic, man. Watching this guy like since 91, 92, being like so influenced, and watching him killing it. It's absolutely fantastic. Plus, he's the nicest guy on the tour. That too, the nicest guy, yeah. Terrorizer, they're great. The mood on this tour is amazing. We have Exarsis, also a band from Greece, which I didn't know, and I got blown away. So by far, one of my favorite tours so far. Okay. So one more tour with Derek Roddy, and I'm completed. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you sometime on the road, or maybe on next episode here. So enjoy it.